is to have half LNG, half gas. Our policy in transport is to own 50% of our transport. Our boats are 50% we own, and 50% is, you know, the chartering of, so that we have this flexibility. We cannot depend all the time on others to transport our products, and we cannot depend on others to ensure offtake of our products. The other policy we have, we favor getting involved downstream, not only selling gas. We want to be in electricity generation. For example, in Portugal, we own part of EDP, Electricity de Portugal. We have shares in EDP, and we have agreement. We sell them gas, and then we make projects together for electricity generation, and we make money on selling gas, and we make money on electricity generation, because you make more money in electricity generation than in selling gas. So you have to go downstream. We are, for example, in Galicia, in Spain, in distribution of natural gas with Reganosa, with private companies. So we go with them, we provide natural gas, liquefied natural gas, it's regasified, and it's distributed. And we own 10% of the company. We own also 49% of a petrochemical company in Spain called Tarragona, with BASF. We supply them LPG. So we get an offtake of LPG because we are the largest producer of LPG in the world. Okay? And LPG, not LNG. LPG. Yeah. We are behind Saudi Arabia. We are behind Saudi Arabia in LPG for butane and propane. We'll probably be the largest in 2 years, 3 years when we finish. So we sell LPG. You know, LPG comes in bottles. You know, people use bottles. Okay, so that's LPG. So we sell LPG to this plant, and then we produce polypropylene and, you know, petrochemical. So you make money selling products and selling, you know. So that's our policy, is to go downstream, as much downstream, and we allow companies to go upstream, as much upstream as they want here. Okay. So you got tired? Not yet?
You will let us know when you have time, okay?
Okay. Very old historical relations with Ukraine. Long time ago. We even have students, you know, who studied there. So we have long-term relations in many areas. And we welcome, you know, companies from Ukraine to work in Algeria. Well, in oil and gas, at least that's my area. They are already making proposals. So in any other areas that they are interested in, they have to be themselves more dynamic, aggressive, to come here, and it's an open market. And then we have historical relations with Ukraine, which are good relations from old time, and we have people who speak you know, and who are married to beautiful Ukrainian ladies. So there is, it's like in a family here.
Yeah, not about the level of political cooperation, because as far as I know, it's not so very high until now.
Well, that's a question you need to raise at a higher up. But as far as I'm concerned, we have good relations, we have good cooperation in many fields. For example, in armaments and training and all of that, I think we have good cooperation. I'm sure that we are importing. I cannot tell you what the level of imports, what we import, but I don't have those figures. If I knew, you were out. But instead of bringing natural gas, we have big reservoir of propane, which we fill with propane that we send by train. And then we distribute. It's like natural gas. It replaces natural gas. And most of the countries start with propane. Why? Because propane allows them to develop the grid. Once you develop the grid, then you can import natural gas. Because the problem is, if you import natural gas, you don't have a grid, how do you distribute natural gas? So you start with more flexible LPG. So you can import LPG, put big reservoirs, and replace natural gas. Of course, you have to pay money for LPG. It's $520 a ton. So you have to calculate whether it makes sense for you to import LPG instead of importing natural gas. I'm talking about Ukraine. Okay? But it's a possibility. Yesterday I was in Montenegro, visiting Montenegro, and why not LPG? You can bring LPG very easily, you put a storage, and then you use it for distribution, for cooking, for heating, even for lighting. And then you can have a grid system, and then when Montenegro will have natural gas from Russia, then they can connect the system, for example. So it's an idea. Okay, second one, then third one. Those who haven't talked, No, that one doesn't work. So you have to use the other one. Yeah, that one, okay. Je sais pas pourquoi celui-là ne fonctionne pas, il faut le vérifier. Interest of Gazprom and Sonatrach to have joint supply. I mean, if you get the same price, what difference does it make? If you're talking about collusion, we don't have collusion. We don't coordinate. There's no coordination between Gazprom and Sonatrach. Each company is free to defend its best interest for its own shareholders. Shareholder of Sonatrach is the Algerian government, and the main shareholder for Gazprom is the Russian government. So each one defends the interest of its own main shareholder, which is, I assume, is to make money. You need money as much as we need money. So there has never been discussion to export gas together. There was a case where Russia showed interest for Sonatrach getting involved in one of the LNG project, the Baltic LNG, and then Russia changed its mind, took us out of the list. We never understood why, but we initially were qualified, and then we were not qualified. If there is some company that built itself many LNG plants, it's Sonatrach. We are building 2 now. We have built the first LNG plant in the world, which is in '64, exported LNG to the UK in '64. We were the first exporter of LNG. So we know how to build LNGs and so forth. So we're still seeking cooperation with Russian companies, and we're still seeking to be involved in Russia, just like we are involved in other countries.
Насколько сейчас активно проникновение китайских компаний, как в нефтегазовый сектор, так и в целом в добывающий сектор Алжира?
They're just like any other companies, as far as we are concerned. They participate in bidding for the exploration, and they are doing exploration. They are also involved in developing fields that they have discovered. They have also service companies like drilling companies and seismic in competition with our own companies. So we have our own companies of Sonatrach, and they are competition with Chinese. I think it's good competition, because competition teaches us to be more efficient and to be more competitive, and help us also move out of Algeria, go to some other place and be competitive there. The third thing they are involved is in refining. They actually invested, they put money in refining, in one small refinery in the south, with Sonatrach, of course, in joint venture. And also they are in construction. They, for example, finished constructing the refinery, the new refinery, which is in operation now in Skikda, which is a condensate refinery of 5 million tons. Basically technology, they use their own technology when it's competitive, but lots of materials and equipment they import from developed countries for the simple reason that engineering and control is done by Sonatrach. Okay, so that we control what kind of equipment, what kind of materials, and also the specifications have to be following the specification, the norms, the API norms, American Petroleum Institute norms, or the ASME norms. So they are norms, and they have to comply with those norms. So as long as you have an entity that makes sure that they use the norms in engineering, procurement, and construction, then you should be okay. They are also involved outside the hydrocarbon in mining, but in mining it's just like we do for hydrocarbons in bidding. So they do exploration with us, with our companies, and they are very good in exploration. They do very quick. They are very efficient in doing their work, and they respond to local demands. For example, in one of the mines, they are building a school for mining. Or even they would drill wells, water wells for, rural population and so forth. Of course, we asked for something like that. Now in Algeria, mainly Chinese are involved in construction of, you see most of the buildings going up here in Algeria are built by the Chinese. Of course, a lot of them are built by Turks, Turkish companies. We have all companies working in Algeria, but lots of these buildings are built by them. They build very fast. They are very competitive, and the quality is good. And they also work in the private sector. They work in the private sector. They build for people. And some of them are even in trading, in commerce. They have shops. They sell, they speak the local language. Sometimes they marry with local people. So we're okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
It's almost finished.
Посетите наш центр, он почти уже решен.
То есть это будет штаб-квартира форума?
So going to be headquarters of the forum. Is this going to be the headquarters of the forum will be closed?
Yeah, that's what we're going to be holding.
Просто
No, the headquarters of the forum is in
Can we take this?
Then I'll mail travel.